We are here in Düsseldorf, and this is the bad thing. We are landed here, we have to make something out of it. Am I going to lose my time, or am I going to make something out of it? That's the interesting thing. I have to do a lot of effort not to expect anything in order to give everybody and to give the thing a chance.
Of course, it's a very catchy title, which makes me kind of skeptic, but I like being skeptic.
I will share space here with other people to find out what kind of radical change we can imagine, do, or devise.
So how can you be left free and still end up much richer than when you came here? That's the whole trick. That can only be done when there is a productive an idea of producing things in the others, not in yourself.
To actually get to a common where we can work together, I personally found out that I have to kind of start with myself, which then again is like going back to the individual.
There is no possibility to change in the universal gesture, to change the world or whatever, but to start with what they call the singular, the singular of your own situation and position. But in the way that the singular is the universal.
We can work together with Larissa, for instance. We can, work together in as many workshops as we can imagine. We can create an educational center in Lublin and work together, but we are not able to build an institution for you or to give you a stage in Kiev or wherever in Ukraine. That's not, and then it's like, okay, in a way we give to the politicians the feeling that we solved the problem, but we did not.
Trace your money. When the money there, if it is sausages in beer and stadium, the theater should move there.
For me, it's not taken for granted that if you invest money into art, that you have like a better outcome than investing it into beer and sausage for peace.
So I'm afraid that if we start to compare making art with making sausages, we cannot resolve the problem of art, because it has never been connected with making sausages. We need both, or maybe we need to rethink why we still need art, if we need it.
It's the dislike that has to play a function, and not the like. The like is in the world outside, doing nice and smiling.
Young performing artists coming from Germany, from West Germany, and from post-Soviet countries, in a way, are at the same situation right now because of the financial crisis, economical crisis, but also because of the cultural crisis in which we all are now.
I was thinking that only my country is a crisis, but I see that everywhere is a crisis. Depends of the problems usually are the same.
How can we overcome the situation of we against you? Because this is also an old-fashioned model.
It's a very old-fashioned model, and it's no use to go radical in this direction.
Yes.
So that's what I call the...
It's more, you can make also art, but we too, so let's share more.
No, but because if you on a national scale say, we the artists against you the politicians, on a global scale it is ridiculous in a way, because there you are not confronted anymore with anybody, but perhaps with the logic of money.
Since years my dream was to open a space or a theater, let's call it however, whatever, for independent artists and for performing arts, not only for the drama theater. And then the question is, shall we deal with the existing city theaters? Shall we try to create something else? A new structure, maybe not in the capital city, maybe somewhere else.
For me, easiest would be to then start with myself, because that's the closest thing to me, and then changing
the system would mean like first try to collect what ideas do we have, what does it mean to be an artist, because I have the feeling that for a long time it was really important to have them in order to do what we're doing.
How to go further from being entrapped into this capitalist system of production where we serve as artists or creative people and things like this, we serve to the capitalist production, which is predicated on immaterial labor and notions like this, and to be practical. Be practical in terms of being interventive into society.
The crisis. I'm also very much interested in this word in very different meanings. How do they deal with it in not only in terms of economy, but also like their topics.
Networking. What is network? Because I have the feeling this is a word which was invented by politicians because it's very suitable. Yes, for sure. And I don't understand it.
At the very beginning of the laboratory, I started collecting notions and terms that appeared through the talks, and then I made a small list and invited the other people to join me to build up the list, because we are from very different contexts, and at the end we would like to try to define some of the notions and terms that we use here from different perspectives, based on our different contextual backgrounds and different genealogies of the concepts and the notions that we all use, and that seem very similar, at least at first glance. But then we will try to see what will come out from trying to define all these or some of these notions from our particular perspectives.
Behind the voices, behind the polyphony of impressions in my work, you see the voices of those who created it.
I would like to ask you, in terms of what you just described, if you are willing maybe to elaborate more about your technologies of authorship. Because this collective and collaborative work is something that is characteristic for the contemporary performing arts scene or even artistic scene, but in many cases it ends up in authors using the contributions of the other collaborators and integrating them, and still he or she credits himself or herself as the author.
It seemed now that the ice was settling much faster than it had in the morning. Perhaps it was that we had been less aware of its appearance earlier, and that in watching it, its growth had seemed slower to us, and that now in the afternoon, as we had other things to do, we only noticed after a while how the ice had accumulated.
I hope that the missing the narratives and missing the connections between the costumes and the gestures and the positions and the arias and the images and the orchestra, missing all these connections, hopefully if we do it well in a way, it creates a great a multitude of stories around it, and not one story.
It is inventive and intelligent and all this. But it is strongly within a certain system and within the creation of this kind of imagination, and to use theater as the place to create this magic, which is a little bit old-fashioned.
I mean, for me, I didn't go through a phase of very big frustration, as I think many of us had. I could kind of take or leave things that were proposed to me, and so yeah, it's more that I have many thoughts I'm leaving with now.
The goals are maybe too ambitious, because one of them is to establish a contemporary dance institute in Kiev, and the other one is to establish the same kind of institution in Yerevan, and moreover to open a kind of new contemporary performing arts center
also based in education in Lublin, Poland, and so east part of Poland.
And what is absolutely necessary is to not wait, but to start.
Yes. I strongly believe we will do it, and actually today we are just studying to write the first application, so we will see how it will go on.